Welcome to Panda Head Studios. Today I'm talking about Transformers Beast Wars comic book. Its 25th anniversary. This just came out this February 2021. It's published by IDW. It's written by Eric Burnham, penciled and colored by Josh Burcham, and the lettering is done by Jake M. Wood. It is essentially a reboot or retelling of what the cartoon covered, and I'm like super nostalgic, so I just wanted to check it out when I was at my comic book store. I didn't know it came out or anything like that. I just saw it and was interested because most of most Transformers comics are for really like for like 11, 12 year olds. They don't have anything edgy in it or anything. It's just mindless action, which is still fun in its own way. This starts out with Megatron stealing the golden disc that has like all these secrets and prophecies about some magic, some planet that has a bunch of energon, and they haven't deciphered too much of it. And he actually, that's where he takes the title of Megatron. He was called Galvin, Galvin or something like that. I'm not exactly sure how it would be pronounced. Galavar. Yeah. Megatron originally has the name Galavar, and then he switches his name. Then takes up the term Megatron when he's finally doing his plan, stealing the golden disc from the Maximals in some special research facility. And then you see like a bunch of Predacons that are like plotting on using that whatever Megatron does, either if he succeeds or fails, they're gonna like use that to their advantage in some silly way, like evil villains and cheesy dialogue you'd expect. Then you see Optimus and Rhinox training on the Axelon, and Optimus basically admitting that Rhinox is a better fighter than him, and Rhinox pretty much getting the better of him, and it's a pretty cool little series of panels. And they're just kind of talking while they're fighting and making lame robot jokes. And then they get the call, and that's where I first noticed that the fact that they call Rhinox Rhinox and Rat Trap Rat Trap in the cartoon, they didn't take on the monikers of like Rat Trap and Rhinox until they had gotten their beast forms, so they just decided to change their names. But in this, they just have those names, and it and that was something I think kind of silly because they don't get their powers until they have like this epic battle in space with Megatron, and then you get introduced to a character that's on the Maximal ship named Vox. I think is what it is. I think that's how you'd pronounce it. And he's like, you're just kind of, I was just kind of like, who's this guy? And then he's a bat, and that's where the comic book ends. Is them crashing on the planet, pretty much where Beast Wars starts out, and them taking on the animal forms, which is where I would give them a great deal of compliment. Is the like artwork of the animals looks way better than the cartoon. Because Optimus really looks like a gorilla, like an actual gorilla, and doesn't have like abnormally large, like doesn't look bizarre. And you see like this really cool panel of tarantulas like coming down as a spider and being all creepy, and it's all dark. And like those are some like, but for the most part, this comic book really wasn't all that memorable. Besides just like the nostalgia, it kind of brought up in me in that they had like they started out a little earlier in the timeline of them getting to the planet and what led them to the planet and why Megatron was doing his crazy plan, as opposed to just they stole a disc and we're gonna send this supply ship that to intercept them when they're totally outclassed. Because what he stole is that important. You get a sense of that in the show, but this did a little bit better of a job. But ultimately, I really wouldn't recommend this comic book because the dialogue is just really weak. The artwork's great. If you just like reading comics for art, this probably would be pretty good. But the dialogue, just bad, very very bad. And that's pretty much everything I have to say about this. I'm not probably going to follow this comic book any more than this one issue, and it's going to be an ongoing series. So I really wouldn't recommend it. Thank you for watching. I would love to hear your thoughts on this particular issue of Beast Wars.